In my last life, my husband cheated on me with a mistress. I gave up all our assets, keeping only custody of my daughter. I poured my heart into making her a renowned artist. But at her art exhibition, she cried to reporters, accusing me of mentally abusing her, saying she was living a life worse than death. In the end, when I was in the hospital from overworking myself, my daughter and the mistress laughed as they pulled out my oxygen tube. Old woman, die already. When I opened my eyes again, I was looking coldly at her as she knelt before me, crying and begging for another chance. I gently caressed her face, and then, without hesitation, gave her the biggest slap I could. The phone rang. It was the art training teacher on the line. Coco's mom, the training is about to start. Our fee is $16,800. We've discussed this before, let us know when you can pay. My mind clicked, I was reborn. Back to right before my daughter's senior year training. In my past life, Coco wasn't great academically, but she inherited my decent talent in artistic skills. So, after discussing it, we decided to send her to art school. With her cultural scores, she could definitely make it into an art college. But she hated the monotonous training, fighting with me every day, even hitting me. I begged and pleaded with her, couldn't even raise my voice just a bit in front of her. After being on eggshells for years, she not only got into an art school but even held a personal art exhibition. She sold paintings for tens of thousands, living a carefree life. But during a reporter interview, she teared up, accusing me unjustly. You guys don't know how much I've suffered. My mom is a monster, she controls me every day, wouldn't let me meet my biological father's family, or have a normal social life. She just locked me in the little studio, mentally torturing me endlessly. Reporters wept, standing up for her. I was condemned by everyone, portrayed as a mom controlling her daughter in repeated videos. Eventually, from stress and anger, I ended up in the hospital. Coco came to see me, with the mistress Jenny. They were dressed in the latest fashions, carrying expensive crocodile skin bags. Jenny poked my forehead. Bella, you're pathetic. Just go peacefully, I'll treat Coco like my own. Coco pulled my oxygen tube out, viciously saying, Old lady, die already. I have a mom, it's not you. I sadly watched my precious daughter and closed my eyes for the last time. Now, hearing the phone asking for payment, I quietly hung up. If being so devoted still gets me nowhere, then no more trying to please. Coco came home, kicked the drawing board in a huff. Want me to paint? I said no. Quit controlling my life. Same old words, I could recite them by heart. I ignored her, silently opened a bottle of milk I was always reluctant to drink. All these years, I cared for Coco well, giving her everything good. My husband had long since cheated, even having a son with his mistress. He never bothered about Coco. Maybe because he didn't, she adored him. He never controlled her or stopped her from dating like I did. Seeing me silent, she came over, yanking my hair, yelling. Did you hear me, you crazy old hag? I don't want to paint. Finishing my milk, I gave her a big slap in return. She was dumbfounded. In all those years, I'd never laid a finger on her. She immediately tried to hit me back, but I easily caught her wrist. Coco, listen up. From today, do whatever you want. I'm not controlling you anymore. She looked at me skeptically. Really? I let go of her hand and started packing up all those expensive drawing boards, easels, paints. Tossed them all into the trash. She finally believed me after she saw everything gone. Excitedly, she asked, Can I go out? You said you wouldn't stop me. I meant it. Go wherever, you don't have to tell me. And call your cheating dad over, I've got something to discuss. She was thrilled, and rushed out. As expected, half an hour later, she returned with Fred, my husband, and Jenny, his mistress, shamelessly tagging along. Jenny, ever so cocky, stepmom, take this chair. It's mine, not the hag's, it's clean. Coco cheerfully fetched a special stool for Jenny, one I couldn't even touch, ever. She called her stepmom so warmly. But to her, I was just the old woman, crazy witch, nagging hag. And Jenny? She was Coco's idol, with her big curls, red lips, showing skin, looking all seductive. Bella, what's with calling me back? Starting your drama again? I looked at this cheating man. In my last life, I put my whole heart into the family, and stopped caring about my looks. That's when Jenny caught his eye. I'd buy $10 worth of pork, and he'd call me wasteful. But Jenny could buy $1,000 purses, no problem. I wasn't happy but afraid of affecting Coco's studies. I put up with it all. Put up with them being called a couple, they're having a son together. Put up with them bad-mouthing me to Coco, and finally watching them with Coco as I lay dying. Thinking of this, I pulled out the divorce papers. Fred, nothing dramatic. Let's divorce. Check the papers and sign. Jenny snatched the papers quickly, reading and frowning more with each line. Bella, are you kidding with this agreement? Fred took them from her now. He's reacting the same way. Split half of my assets with you? That's a joke. I worked hard for them. What right do you have to take a share? Exactly, wishful thinking, Jenny chimed in. I silently took out my phone, showing video evidence of their life together, as well as Jenny's posts flaunting their relationship on social media. Fred, you cheated during the marriage, had a child, committed bigamy. The evidence is undeniable. If you don't sign the papers, I'll take this to court and you'll definitely lose. And aren't you up for the general manager position at your company? Imagine if your boss saw all this. He bowed his head, and after a few seconds, seemed to have thought of something. Bella, think carefully. If I have to give you half, then Coco's custody will be mine. You'll have no ties to Coco, and you won't see her again. He tried using Coco as leverage against me, like in a past life. Back then, Jenny's ill will concerned me. They had a son and wouldn't treat Coco well. So, I agreed to Fred's unreasonable demand and walked away with nothing but custody of Coco. Still, Coco didn't understand and blamed me. She said I deprived her of being a rich girl, forcing her to a life of hardship and ridicule. She took every chance to win Jenny's favor. And Jenny? She never taught her good values. Instead, she encouraged the opposite: piercings, dyed hair, short skirts, teaching how to flirt with men. I was so angry, I confronted Jenny. Coco slapped me in front of her. Thinking about that, I signed the agreement without hesitation. Coco, if you like your dad and stepmom so much, I'll let you go live with them. You can call her Mom, officially. Stepmom sounds bad anyway. Coco was thrilled, jumped up, and gave Jenny a big kiss. Mom, did you hear? I can really be your daughter now. I've wished for this for so long. I watched them silently. Coco was happy, but Fred and Jenny's faces darkened, especially Jenny. She wiped where Coco kissed her, looking at me in shock. Bella, you're so heartless. You don't want your own daughter? Didn't you say? It's because I love Coco so much that I'm respecting her choice. She likes you too, so I'm fulfilling her wish to be with you. Coco eagerly packed her things to move to Fred's place. It was a big house, unlike our 2-bedroom apartment. I helped her pack. She didn't take a single book I bought her, just the short skirts and crop tops Jenny gifted her. Soon, she was out with a small bag. Dad, Mom, let's go. Finally free of this old hag. She made a peace sign and Jenny angrily stomped at Fred. When the whole trashy family was gone, I finally had peace. Number 5 a.m. alarms, I could sleep in. No Coco's daily insults, I was beyond delighted. Splitting assets with Fred was simple. I only kept our home, I didn't want any cash or other assets. I knew this place would soon be redeveloped. With compensation, I'd make millions quickly. For Fred and Coco, their troubles were only beginning. 3 days after Coco moved in, Jenny called me, screaming. Bella, "Get your brat out of here or I'll kill her." I didn't want to go. Even if killed, it had nothing to do with me. But I couldn't control the curiosity to see their drama. At their door, I heard Coco's wailing. She lay on the floor, bruised. Seeing me, she crawled over. "Stupid old hag, why are you here?" "I have my stepmom now." I kicked her away. "You're so clueless. In your teens, you're told to call her mom, and you still say stepmom. People might mistake her for a homewrecker." Jenny was livid, standing hands on hips. My words incensed her more, and she kicked Coco again. "Bella, this is your vicious daughter. Get her away. We can't keep her here." I pushed Coco aside, sat down, and cracked open some sunflower seeds I bought on the way. "Why so upset? What happened?" Jenny pointed at Coco on the floor. "This brat tried stealing my son's chicken drumstick. The audacity. She's unwanted, how does she dare compete with my son?" All this over a drumstick left Coco battered. I wasn't even a bit sad. Wasn't this the life she wanted? Coco's eyes darted around, trembling. I imagined what she endured, yet she clung to her illusions about Jenny. She even knelt to Jenny, pleading, "Mom, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to take the drumstick. Please don't kick me out. I'll behave. I don't want to go back to that hag." Jenny slapped her again. "Get lost. This isn't your home. Your home is that shoddy place. Don't think about splitting our wealth." Feeling pity, I sighed and decided to help Coco. "Jenny, she likes you so much. She's meant to be here. She can even keep your son company. In a few years, when you're both bedridden, she'll serve you well." Jenny couldn't believe it. Was this the Bella who'd do anything for Coco? She assumed I'd be heartbroken and take Coco back instantly. Things have changed. "Bella, keep her here and you'll regret it." Jenny, seeing no intention of obedience, tried warning me ominously. I chuckled softly and cracked open another handful of seeds. "Don't worry, you won't regret it at all. Because they're the ones who should be regretting. Coco, she'll bring so many surprises to Fred and Jenny. I'm eager to see it unfold." Help her out? No way. I went to get a refund for the art classes that I paid for. There are still thousands worth of classes left that Coco won't be attending. Even if she wanted to, I wouldn't let her. Because it's my money. But the art studio has a no refund policy for class fees. At first, I thought about letting it go. But seeing all those brushes and paints, I felt the urge to paint myself. After all, I was once a pretty well-known artist. I gave it all up for family, for Coco. I focused entirely on her. Neglected myself. So I decided, if I can't get a refund, I'll join the classes myself. I chose the priciest principal's class, attending those exclusive sessions. Jenny is always posting on social media, and every post is about Coco. At 5 a.m., Coco is up making breakfast for the whole family. Jenny captions it, "It's wonderful having a filial daughter. She's up bright and early making breakfast for us." In the evenings, long past midnight, Coco is still doing laundry. Jenny adds, "My daughter, being thoughtful, won't let me do laundry. The whole family's clothes wait for her to come back and wash them." Every single one of these posts is set to only me view. She's trying to tug at my heartstrings, hoping I'll take Coco back. But I'm really busy. I have art classes, yoga, running. I'm reintegrating myself into society. I don't have time to deal with their nonsense. Eventually, Fred couldn't hold back. He came to see me. His eyes were unsure and a bit amazed. In just a little over a month, I've transformed. Without their burden, I've been reborn. "Bella, you really don't want Coco anymore?" I was sketching on paper, focusing intently with each stroke. "Right, doesn't she love living with you guys? Didn't she always say I was too controlling? I'm giving her what she wants. I'm setting her free. Fred wanted to chat some more. You're painting again? Remember how you used to? I tossed an open box of paint, hitting Fred square in the face. Feeling out of place, he walked off quietly. Coco's teacher called me, mentioning her being late and dozing off in class. He asked if she wasn't resting well at home. Well, of course. If she's up at 5 a.m. making breakfast and doing laundry past midnight, how could she possibly rest well? But how is any of this my problem now? I used to wake up at 5 daily, whipping up a new breakfast for her without fail. She didn't appreciate it at all, even giving it away to some punk boy she liked. She had too much sweetness in life before. Now, it's time for her to taste some bitterness of reality. But she doesn't seem to complain. Jenny sent me one last message. Bella, if you don't come and get her soon, don't blame me for doing something worse. I kept painting calmly, not even lifting my head. I have to say, painting really soothes the mind. Soon enough, I found out what Jenny meant by something worse. The teacher called asking why Coco dropped out of school. Coco's grades weren't the absolute best, but pursuing art could land her in a good college. As parents, you should really consider what's best for the kid. I replied helplessly. Teacher, Coco is with her dad and stepmom now. I can't do anything. If she doesn't want to study, I'll let her. In the past, she also wanted to drop out, envious of streamers who earn thousands by dancing a bit. Persuaded by some punks, she planned to leave school to become a streamer. When I found out, I dragged her back. Through coaxing, pleading, and pressure, she eventually returned to school and got into college. But she claimed I ruined her love life and stole her youth. This time, I seem to agree with Jenny. I'm letting her have her love and release her youth. After dedicating time to intense learning and practice, my painting skills returned to their former glory, perhaps even better. I successfully sold my first painting. When I handed it to the buyer, they were very pleased and paid me $18,000 on the spot. Later, in a hotel, I saw Coco again. She wore heavy smoky makeup, dyed green hair, bright red lipstick. She was dressed in a mini skirt and fishnet stockings. Trailing behind that punk. Hurry up, stop dawdling. If we waste the client's time, can you afford it? Coco seemed reluctant to go into the hotel. The punk grew impatient and slapped her. Hurry up, or I'll deal with you. Coco was terrified, tears in her eyes. I don't want to go in. Without another word, the punk crushed a spent cigarette into Coco's arm. She screamed. Fine, I'll go. The client noticed them too and shook his head. Youth these days, honestly. I shook my head too. If they insist on destroying themselves, what can parents do? Before long, I saw Coco again on my phone. Jenny sent me a link. Bella, look at your daughter's money-making skills. She says she earns thousands in one night dancing like this. She even bought me a new purse yesterday and got some Lego for Ken. I glanced at the video of Coco. Her outfit was even more revealing and mature than at the hotel. The dances were borderline inappropriate. Flirtatious as ever, she called out to the screen, one big brother and sweetheart after another. It was infuriating. But then, something went wrong. The punk appeared on screen, wielding a stick and viciously beating Coco. Coco screamed in pain, clutching her head and crying out. But the comments were all cheering for more. They were all using full force, hitting that little bitch to death. The thug used all his strength. Coco was beaten to a bloody mess. The more effort he put in, the more gifts were sent on screen. I realized this is a disgusting world. It's a world making money by abusing women. Of course, the video was quickly banned. Jenny sat in front of me. Bella, I don't believe you're not hurt. I just smiled faintly. I'm really not. Jenny continued, well, let me tell you, I was the one who found that man for her. I helped pick those clothes, and she'll even share half the money she earns with me. I replied calmly, "You deserve those efforts and money." Jenny stared at me for a long, long time and finally concluded, "Bella, you're crazy, truly crazy." I'm not crazy. I'm finally clear-headed now. Fred couldn't stand seeing Coco fall apart like this. Just like I did before, he locked her at home. Coco couldn't stand it. She cried and yelled, even cursed. "Fred, how dare you lock me up? Are you going to treat me like that old woman did?" I finally escaped her, living freely. "Now, you're doing this too. What's the point of staying here?" Fred was furious, slapping her a few times. "Stay home and stop embarrassing yourself." Coco was locked up for a few days, constantly asking Jenny for help. "Mom, you're the one who understands me. This house only has you who gets me. They only want me to study, so I can make them proud with more money. That's why I didn't want that nagging old hag, only wanted to be with you." Jenny was eager for Coco to fall. She didn't want Jenny to be a burden anyway. In the past, I bent over backward to guide Coco, and Jenny did everything to sabotage it, leading her astray. She secretly let Jenny go out. When Fred found out, he had his first fight with Jenny and even got physical. He found Coco in a hotel, smoking away. She was out of it, even starting to strip in front of Fred. He was so mad he almost fainted. Fred tried to take Coco away. How could those guys high on drugs let Coco go? They beat Fred up. He ended up in the hospital. Fred called me, and I brought bananas worth $10 just to see his misery. He poured his heart out. "Bella, how did you manage Coco before? She's infuriating. So disobedient, messing around outside. I beg you, help me, take her away. I feel better when she's with you. Can't let her stay with Jenny, she's picking up all the wrong things." I peeled a banana and popped it in my mouth, sweet. "Fred, she's your daughter. It's your responsibility to raise her. You've been absent for over 10 years. Now's the time to make up for it." Coco stood not far away, head down. "Dad, help me. Don't press charges. Write a letter of forgiveness, or they'll go to jail." Fred's face twisted with anger. "I was almost beaten to death, and you want me to forgive them? Coco, can't you tell right from wrong?" Coco didn't relent. "They're all my boyfriends. You can't let them go to jail." Fred finally picked up the hot water bottle from the bedside table and hurled it at Coco. "Get lost." Coco ran off, threatening Fred. "If you don't forgive my boyfriends, you'll regret it. Watch out for your son, Fred." Wow. It was like watching two dogs fight. Fred obviously didn't forgive those thugs. He didn't believe Coco would really do something extreme. He didn't know what kind of person Coco was. In the past, when I stopped her from being with thugs, she sneakily put sleeping pills in my water. After I took antibiotics, she spiked my food with alcohol. Luckily, I survived each time, and she never succeeded. Now, I'm curious about her next move. Sure enough, a day later, Fred's son Ken was rushed to the hospital in an ambulance. Coco had gotten Ken to drink a whole bottle of weed killer. Jenny was devastated, crying and pounding her chest. That was her precious child. After days in the hospital, Ken didn't make it. Fred was genuinely losing it, aging rapidly. Jenny's hair turned white overnight. They wanted to smash Coco's head against the ground in front of Ken's lifeless body, truly wanting her dead to accompany him in the afterlife. I support them. This trash, every single one of them, deserves no mercy. Coco was kicked out by Jenny completely. Jenny even took a knife and sliced Coco's face several times. With nowhere to go, Coco ended up back at my shabby little house. She knelt before me, sobbing. "Mom, help me." I just looked at her without speaking. I knew why she came back. "Mom, I'm pregnant, what do I do?" I softly uttered 2 words, "Not my problem. Her child has nothing to do with me, it's not my child." No way, Mom, you have to help me. I can't keep this child. I'm so young, I don't want to be a mom. I didn't even want to look at that revolting trash. Yet, she lay in my house, refusing to leave. I'm your daughter, it's your obligation to take care of me. Funny, she's already an adult. Just like Jenny, I tossed her out. Not a few days later, she was back, dragging her bleeding body to my doorstep. Those thugs got out, resenting Fred for reporting them, leaving them locked up for so long. They took it out on Coco. She ended up miscarrying from the beating. What a pity, even after all that, she didn't die. She looked at me with barely any life left in her. For the first time, I saw regret in her eyes. Her bloody hand grabbed onto my pant leg. Mom, please, help me. I'm sorry. I shouldn't have ignored you. I shouldn't have dropped out of school or quit art class. I'll go back to school tomorrow. I'll work hard and get into a good college. Please, Mom, just help me one last time. No. That's not gonna happen. I left her in the hallway. Whether she lived or died wasn't my concern. And Fred and Jenny definitely wouldn't care either. A month later, I got the demolition notice from my old house. And I saw Fred and Jenny at the door again. They'd lost their son, aging like they were 70. Jenny saw me and didn't miss a beat. Bella, this house is getting demolished. You better pack up and leave. This was Fred's house, which means it's mine too. I threw a chair at them. Fred, take a good look. My name's on the property deed. Just mine. He got all worked up. When we divorced, you hid this from me. You knew the place was gonna be demolished, so you kept it. Bella, that agreement doesn't count. That's fraud. What a couple of legal idiots. Just as I was about to lay into them again, Coco popped up out of nowhere. She didn't hesitate, slapping both Jenny and Fred. Get lost. This is my mom's and my house. You have nothing to do with it. Get as far away as you can and stop bugging my mom. Jenny glared at Coco, her eyes red. She lunged at Coco, grabbing her hair and screaming. Coco, you vile thing. You shameless bitch. You dare show up in front of me. The two of them started fighting fiercely. You pull my shirt, I'll rip your pants. You scratch my face, I'll mess up your hair. It was a scene more intense than any soap opera. Eventually, they ended with both of them scratched up. Coco looked at me, proud. Mom, look, only I'm the one helping you. We're on the same page, mother and daughter. Oh, now we're family. Now we're on the same page. It's because the house is being demolished, right? Because my paintings are famous, selling for hundreds of thousands. Coco, even Fred, are always around me now. Sweetheart, let's remarry. I finally understand, the person who truly loves me in this world is you. I was blind. Jenny tempted me. Being with her wasn't what I wanted. We're still young. Coco's messed up, but we can have another kid. This time, I'll be a good husband and father. We can have that beautiful life. I ignored Fred and just looked at Coco. She thought I was softening, all hopeful eyes looking at me. Mom, you still love me, right? I'm your only daughter in this world. Don't worry, as long as you give me that money, I'll treat you well. How could I trust her, someone full of lies? Coco, I need to ask you something. Sure, ask away. I'll tell you everything. Mom wants to know, you said Jenny was good to you, didn't care and gave you freedom, right? Yeah, she replied confidently. But why didn't she treat her son the same way? Why didn't she give him freedom? Why did she enroll him in so many classes and set so many rules with endless assignments? My dear daughter, think carefully, why is that? Coco spaced out for a moment before she seemed to snap awake. She ran out furiously. She found her way to Jenny's place, where Jenny laughed out loud. Coco, you're so naive. Why would I like trash like you? Trash that abandons their own mother, trash that even hits their own mom. I spent years studying your likes, playing to your whims. Whatever you liked, I'd take you to do, whatever your mom forbade. You finally turned against her at every turn. Jenny's laugh was maniacal. Coco finally snapped out of it, but this time, she really got it. Jenny, go to hell, you and your son together. She pulled a knife from the kitchen and stabbed Jenny right in the heart. Jenny laughed through it all, looking at me standing not far away. Bella, you win. I tried so hard to corrupt Coco, never expecting karma to bite me back. My son, Mama's coming for you. She laughed one last time before pulling the knife from her chest and turning on Fred. Both of them dropped in front of me, but inside, I felt nothing. I called the police and the hospital. It's a law-abiding citizen's duty. When the police came to take Coco away, she dropped to her knees, hitting herself, pleading, Mom, I was wrong, I really know now. I shouldn't have listened to Jenny. I shouldn't have hurt you. Find a way, save me, Mom, Mom. How could I save her? That was the path she chose. Her own sins. I'd tried to help before, but it was no use. They say, you reap what you sow. That's her fate, her karma.